Dragonstorm Games. I'm Evan Johnson. We're looking at a slightly older game today from the year 2000, Princes of Florence. Princes of Florence was developed by Wolfgang Kramer and Richard Ulrich of El Grande fame. It's published here in the United States under Rio Grande Games. The same year that it came out, it won the Meeple's Choice Award. 1 year later, it won the International Game Award. And even though it's been 13 years since its original release, it still ranks a very solid 39 on BoardGameGeek.com. My introduction to the gaming world is relatively recent, so the novelty of this game is yet to fade for me. As such, among my peers here at Dragonstorm Games, I'm usually more eager to play this game than the rest of them. So, without further ceremony, let's take a look at Princes of Florence. In Princes of Florence, you're acting as, spoiler alert, a Prince of Florence. Although not really. You're mostly acting as one of the great houses of Florence, like the Medici family, for example. So the object of this game is to build up a principality. In your principality, you're going to have buildings, landscapes, freedoms for your people, and so on. Now, all of these things act as the resources you need to support the artisans. The artisans produce works for you, and the works give you points. So your principality needs to be specifically designed to support the artisans that you want. The more requisites you meet for those works, the more points those works will make for you. More specifically, there are 2 phases per round of play. The auction phase is where players compete at a base price of 200 florins to purchase landscape tiles, gesture tiles, builder tiles, prestige cards, and recruiting cards. Each player gains 1 item from the list, and no item may be purchased more than once in a single auction phase. Next comes the action phase, where players may take 2 actions. Actions include buying freedoms, profession cards, or bonus cards. You may also build buildings and produce works. Some of these actions can be repeated in the same action phase. Some cannot. You can build 2 buildings, for example, but you cannot buy 2 freedoms. When you produce a work, you get florins. The amount you receive is dependent on the number of requisites you meet on the card. Note that for each round, the minimum value necessary to produce a work increases. During round 5, for example, your work must have a value of at least 15 in order to produce it. Bonus cards are one-off bonuses that increase work value, and each gesture tile increases the work value of every work you produce by 2. Once the work is produced, you receive your florins. The number is multiplied by 100, by the way. A work value of 15 equals 1,500 florins. Once you have your florins, you may decide to keep them or spend them on the prestige track. You can keep some and spend some if you wish. Prestige cards are used at game end to add bonus prestige points. These can make a massive difference and often bring a player from last place to first if they manage to take full advantage of the cards. As you can see, the artwork in Princes of Florence is very appropriate. The font choices, the colors, the textures, and illustrations all set the theme quite well. I wouldn't really call the game beautiful, though. While the washed-out colors paired with the warm palette may be appropriate for the theme, the look really can't compare to the beauty of some more recent games like Sulcan or Small World. That being said, though, the pieces are of high quality and can stand up to many years of packing and unpacking. The cards are pretty standard, though, in terms of their materials and thickness, and while they don't warrant a whole lot of handling in the game, I do recommend getting some sleeves for them. I love this game. I love building up my principality. I love specifically designing it for the kinds of works that I want to produce, the kinds of artisans that appeal to me. I also like the fact that you don't have to specifically design it, and that there's enough artisans that you can kind of gather together what you need and still be a competitor in the game. The auction phase is also very interesting. Each item can only be purchased 1 time per phase, so the competition can get pretty stiff, especially for gestures. There is an expansion to this game. The expansion introduces character cards. Each character gives you a specific bonus for a specific round. Sometimes the bonus can carry over to next turn. To be perfectly honest, though, I'm not too crazy about this expansion. It adds a great deal of time for what feels to me a pretty small reward. It can be game-changing, true, but I don't think it's worth the extra time of an additional auction phase. You already have 1 auction phase in the game. I don't think we needed a second one. Flaws in the expansion aside, though, The game is very, very solid and has earned its place in the annals of gaming. If you do not have it yet, your game shelf is incomplete. Thank you for watching. I'm Evan Johnson for DragonstormGames.com, where you never have to game alone. Richard Kramer, I don't remember the names, by Richard Kramer and Wolfgang. God damn it. These German names. Wolfgang Kramer. I just need to get this sentence out. Why are those names hard?